Hello and welcome to the Green Truth podcast by TiiQu, your go-to destination for insightful conversations on sustainability. We're committed to delving into diverse perspectives on environmental issues, guided by the belief that embracing truth empowers us to create a better world for generations to come. I'm your host, Chantal Kerr-Shepherd, and today our guest, Ricardo Mulas, is the co-founder of E6PR, or Eco6 Pack Ring. It's a company revolutionising the packaging industry with their eco-friendly, biodegradable 6-pack rings. These rings are designed not only to reduce plastic pollution, but to ensure that if they ever end up in nature, they'll safely break down, leaving no harm to the wildlife or the environment. Ricardo's journey into sustainability is inspiring. He didn't mean to end up here, but his solutions are already making a real impact. We're going to hear about the challenges he's faced in driving corporate change and how every one of us can play a part in creating a greener future. So thank you so much for joining me here today, Ricardo.
Not at all, Chantal. Thank you so much for having me. It is great to have the opportunity of speaking about sustainability as a whole, as well as introducing our Eco 6-pack holders, or E6PR, which is a solution that exists today that replaces plastic rings to hold canned beverages.
It's always best to understand how somebody got to this point in their life. So can you just talk us through your journey in sustainability and how you ended up here with E6PR?
Absolutely. My journey is quite short. I'm a chemical engineer. I have a bachelor's in chemical engineer, and I started my labor, my professional life in investment banking. So I was a 3-year investment banking analyst. It is a beautiful, tough job. So I was not necessarily made out or cut out for it. So I quit, and while I was searching for my next gig or for my next job, my father showed me a video of his partners working on a solution that would replace the plastic rings that hold cans, and I was captivated by it. So he asked me, "Why don't you help these guys while they look for someone to work for them, and while you look for somewhere to work?" And I said yes, and that was back in 2017. So I've been helping E6PR for almost 7 years now.
Oh, wow. So you didn't ever intend to stay there for very long, and now you've been sucked in. What's drawn you to stay?
That is correct. I was not necessarily intended to work there. It was rather helping out to build something, or to start out with the company, and after that to find my own way. What captivated me is the lack of education and the lack of products out there that are aimed towards reducing plastic or aimed towards a sustainable future. And it just captivated me and brought me in, and it's just been a wild trip.
Amazing. So at E6PR, the 6-pack rings, what problem were you trying to solve when you very first started? And how did you arrive at this specific solution?
Absolutely. So as the name mentions it, E6PR stands short for Eco 6-pack ring. The intention was to replace the plastic rings that hold canned beverages, and well, that's what we started out doing. These are products that had never been done before. It is an industry that exists from a while ago. It's called molded fiber, until plastics somehow replaced them and left this industry very simple. So you have your tableware, you have your plates, you have your shells, you have your clamps for takeout, and these don't necessarily require too much engineering behind them. So the Eco 6-pack rings that we created are the first sustainable can holder in the market today And the goal was for this molded fiber, for these products, to be able to hold the weight of 4 or 6 cans from a very small place, no, from a very small surface, which is the hole in which the can fits.
And what makes the product sustainable?
The product is made out of it's entirely made out of fibers, plant fibers. We do not add any plastic. It's 100% plastic free, and we do not add any adhesives because adhesives, in the end, tend to be somewhat or they are usually not biodegradable or compostable. So, being plant fiber, being plant material, is what gives our raw material and our solution the biodegradable and compostable capabilities.
Amazing. And how long does it take down? How long does it take to break down? And are there certain conditions required for it to break down? So you say biodegradable and compostable; those are kind of used interchangeably across packaging, but aren't necessarily fit for purpose. So you can just explain how yours specifically work.
Absolutely. What I can say is that we are currently, or we always aim to certify our products as compostable. Our goal is to have our products to be home compostable, which they are. We've done these tests, and yes, they do compost. To compost, it may take a little less than 100 days. So I don't know if Chantal, you're aware that compostable means biodegradation under composting under a compost system. No, so as our product is biodegradable, which is our true goal and our true aim, so if it does reach landfill, it will biodegrade. The best alternative is to have our products discarded in the as green waste or in the organic bin where it reaches a compost facility for a product to simply biodegrade faster and become compost, and that can be used as fertilizer for your garden or other for the agricultural purposes.
So obviously, this solution has come from an environmental impact problem we have with plastic waste. The six-pack ring that you've tried to solve the problem with, surely this could have been solved earlier, and somebody should have been looking at it already.
I believe, Chantal, I personally believe that there are many great ideas out there that are aimed towards a sustainable practice. Unfortunately, big corporations and and also individuals, not us as individuals, we tend to stick to prices and stick to costs. So unfortunately, sustainability or achieving sustainability has become a price cost problem where usually these ideas to be able to grow require the economies of scale to reach a proper price or a proper cost for big corporations and for individuals, no? Because we as individuals also have to assume responsibility of what we are using and what we are purchasing, and corporations have to take responsibility on what they are selling and what they are manufacturing and how they are selling it and how they are promoting it and how they're promoting their products. So as individuals, we should be able to not think of the cost and be able to purchase what's sustainable. And big corporations should be able to nurture these ideas into products that can be affordable so that sustainability can be achieved again.
So I guess then that begs the question: is E6PR affordable for the industry you're targeting?
We initially, we've been in the market for 7 years now. We can definitely say that we are higher in price than virgin plastic solutions. We are now very price competitive with recycled plastic solutions. And yes, absolutely. When we first came out or when we first launched our product back in 2018, our product was 10 times the cost of plastic solutions. And we've been able to reduce our prices because what we want to become is the new commodity. What we want to achieve is to replace this plastic, or at least these single use plastic rings. So to do that, we've been reducing our prices, and that has been achieved in almost a 45% since we started back in 2018. Again,
Amazing.
that makes us competitive with recycled plastic solutions, which are out there, and this exists. And we are not yet competitive with virgin plastic solutions, but we will get there eventually.
What kind of percentage share do you have of the industry, and how successful have you been so far?
We I wouldn't dare say that we have a big percentage of the industry. We are quite small. We started out with, or our first customers were the craft and the artisanal beverage manufacturers. It is a simpler transaction. You are dealing with the owner usually, and the owner is who says yes or no. No, so it is rather fast, and they also sell at a higher price point, so they can take this either into their cost and their margins, or they can include it as a price to their target cost consumers, who should be able to afford that. So, but getting back to your question, which have been the challenges for bigger corporations to be able to adopt our solution? It has definitely been price, and it has also been adoption, no? or how to apply our eco solutions. When we first started back in 2018, it was a manual application solution process that could go up to 40, maybe 60 cans per minute if you were able to, if you did manage to get your process right. So when we first approached bigger corporations, they said that's fine, that's amazing. We run at 2,400 cans per minute, 2,400 cans per minute. So unfortunately, we cannot adopt your solution at the moment because it's too manual. Let's leave the doors open for when you are able to have a solution that runs at 2,400 cans per minute or 2,400 cans per minute. So we've been focusing on developing application solutions that can reach these these processes, that can reach these speeds. And we can gladly say that as of 2024, we successfully installed an 800 can per minute machine with a Canadian customer who believed in us and who trusted us, and who was able to break this chicken and egg situation where many corporations and individuals say, okay, that's fine. Who is using it? Nobody's using it. Then they don't trust the product and they don't trust the machines.
So I think you've got a really good bit of advice there. So for organizations coming up with sustainable solutions, you can't just come up with a good product. You've got to come up with a good product that fits within the current system. Otherwise, the door's just going to be shut.
That is correct. And again, I do believe that there are so many good ideas out there. The problem is scaling these ideas and being able to mass produce these ideas at an affordable price or an accessible price, and then being able to get these ideas or concepts and now products into the mainstream, or the already existing processes that companies usually have.
That takes an enormous amount of investment as well, or knowing the right people.
Correct. It takes a lot of investment that then again, not too many are eager to take such a challenge. And then again, let's not forget that we had a 3-year world pandemic, no? Which unfortunately made many of these projects, innovative projects, go into drawers or to the end of the pile, where companies were looking to survive, which is obviously perfect. So they went into taking care of themselves, and that's it. Lucky for us, this we are now into this new normal, which is now more normal than the new normal, and companies are starting to pick up this type of projects.
And do you think the drive for picking up those products is consumer focused now?
It's more consumer focused, absolutely. It is also part of being regulated. So there's this angle of governance or politics where many of the companies have to switch to more sustainable solutions because governments are now setting or are now placing plastic bans or they are regulating plastic usage. That definitely works in our favor. Uh, Actually, our biggest customer is in Canada because Canada is the first country to ban almost all of single-use plastics, and that ban started in 2024, and it goes into 2025, getting stricter rules and getting stricter regulations. So yeah, that definitely shakes up things in the companies where they have to start adopting these types of solutions. And I'm gonna emphasize in start using the solutions because we don't necessarily have to get to the 2400 cans per minute. Let's start with the manual and the craft and the artisanal. Let's move now to the 800 cans per minute and let's find together how to reach the 2400 cans per minute.
I love that. So, what advice would you give for other organizations trying to tackle such big, complex problems?
My advice is to keep on doing what you're doing. It is tough. It repays, and also learn when to stop. That's a very good advice. Learn when to stop and refocus and regather to give or to switch or to adapt your product or your idea and try to push it harder because it is now a bigger or it is now a better built idea. So it is also a good thing to stop, to rethink, to change what needs changing, and then to go out there again.
And then on the other side, how do you think we can change the narrative around sustainability? You've mentioned that it's a duty due to regulation for businesses, and it seems to be all about cost. But do you think there's a possibility for change around this?
Oof. Sustainability is a very broad concept. Achieving it requires multi-phase solutions. It's political action, it's education, and in a very simple sense, is to take responsibility, to assume responsibility as corporations, as companies, and as individuals. Again, as individuals, we have to we have to be more aware of what we're purchasing. As corporations, you need to be, or we need to be, no, I'm a company now, or E6PR is a company. We have to be truthful of what we're selling, and we have to be truthful on how we promote it. There is a lot of greenwashing out there, unfortunately. It is one of our daily jobs to try and get past the greenwashing simply on recyclable solutions, reusable actions. And education wise, we need to get our terms correct. So, simple thinking that, for example, a recycled product is not necessarily recyclable. So we have to separate these terms, recycled and recyclable. Recycled simply means that these materials or that product is made out of materials from something else, which products or materials were recycled. But it may end there. Then again, every cycle, the material loses properties that eventually renders this useless. So it may be the end of the life of that material and it is no longer recyclable. But as soon as we, as individuals, hear recycled, we assume it is sustainable and we assume that it will be recycled again. There's also this broader term, which is degradable. Degradable is so broad and it is so complicated that there are many types of degradation. And the simplest degradation method is mechanical degradation. As an example, if you take a rock and you smash it, you are degrading that rock. You are breaking it down into smaller pieces of rock. But the rock doesn't change its composition and it remains a rock. So that has happened in the past where companies promoted their solutions as degradable, but they didn't necessarily mention what type of degradation. Or they also found different degradation methods like oxo degradation or photo degradation. The first uses oxygen to degrade the materials, the second uses UV light to degrade the materials. Oxygen from the environment, UV light usually from sunlight. But if this material or these products do not receive any oxygen or any UV light, they will not degrade. They will never degrade. And it was not until recently that it was found. Again, I don't want to get into the ethical part if they knew or they didn't know. But when this photo or these oxo degradable products degrade, usually plastic, they degrade into ever smaller pieces of plastic that nowadays we've even earned them the name microplastics, and now there's even smaller nanoplastics in the environment that is causing all types of chaos that we are not necessarily um, we don't necessarily know what's going to happen with these micro and nanoplastics.
Well, thankfully, we've got people like you trying to change the start of the process so that this won't happen in the future. Although you are right, we have no idea what's going to happen to those tiny microplastics that are currently here.
Yeah, it is going to be challenging. It is a multi-phased action plan and solutions. We need to get everybody on board, individuals, corporations, companies, governments, where we have to start taking simple actions. Simple actions tend to have a ripple effect, and this ripple effect eventually leads to a sustainable practices where we can use our where we can use today without affecting tomorrow.
So that's a lovely way to put it. So finally, where can listeners learn more about E6PR and your work?
Our website has a lot of information. Our website is e6pr.com, quite simple. There are also quite a few articles written about us in National Geographic, in World Changing Ideas, in many other uh, in many other magazines, where they mention us as the one of the solutions to be able to tackle plastic or this plastic pandemic.
Awesome. Well, I wish you guys all the luck in the world. I mean, I'm sure you've got plenty of people interested, considering the coverage that you've had. But it's amazing to hear about somebody tackling something that is so simple yet has no sustainable solution until now.
Yes, that's what makes us very eager because it is an existing solution. It is something that is available now. It's available in the market. It is not just a simple idea. So companies and corporations can say yes, and we can all benefit from that yes.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Ricardo.
No, not at all, Chantal. Let me know if you'd like to discuss any other topics in the future. We can gladly go over them. There is so much to talk about sustainability that it makes me sometimes go and live in a cave and have no access to absolutely nothing. And just to get away from plastic, you just have to live under a rock, which is just the reality of what we're facing. Obviously, it is not it is not a recommendation. It is not recommended. It is just to find how to best use what we currently have in plastic, how to be able to give this plastic a second, third, fifth, a hundredth life usage, so that the life material or the life of the material is somewhat closer to the usage of the material.
Lovely. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Chantal, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Green Truth podcast. We hope you found our discussion enlightening and inspiring. Remember, it's through understanding truth and action that we can pave the way for a sustainable future. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe for more thought-provoking conversations, and don't forget to leave us a review. Until next time, stay curious and keep seeking the truth.